Welcome back to the deep dive. Last time, we really got into why Shavasana is so important, didn't we?
We did. Those deep benefits you miss if you just, skip it after practice.
Exactly. Well, today we're diving even deeper. We're looking at how Shavasana connects to something really fundamental, grounding, or maybe you've heard the Chinese term Nia Jidi Qi,
Ah, yeah. A beautiful concept.
isn't it? And you felt it, right? That sense of just settling when you walk barefoot on
Oh,
grass?
definitely. Or sand. That immediate calm.
Or leaning against a tree, maybe. It's that feeling that ancient wisdom tapped into, this idea of absorbing the earth's, well, its natural energy.
Hmm.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack that, look at the ancient ideas, the modern perspectives, and see how Shavasana really is this uh, path to connecting with the earth.
Yeah, it's fascinating how you works in that context. It's really about absorbing the Earth's vital energy,
Mm,
direct contact with nature, especially the ground itself, is seen as key for, well, physical health and mental balance.
yeah. It makes me think of being a kid, running around barefoot, just totally connected, no thought about it.
Exactly that feeling. And, modern science is starting to look at this too, calling it earthing or grounding.
Right. So what's the theory there?
Well, the main hypothesis is that the Earth's surface has a natural negative charge. It's like this huge reservoir of free electrons.
Okay.
And when our skin touches the ground directly,
Like being barefoot.
precisely, these electrons can actually transfer into our bodies.
And what does that do?
Good question. The idea is that these electrons, these negative charges, might help neutralize things called free radicals in our bodies.
Ah, I've heard of those. They're not good, right? Linked to inflammation.
Exactly. They're basically unstable molecules with positive charges,
Yeah.
causing oxidative stress, linked to inflammation, aging, even chronic diseases potentially.
So getting these negative electrons from the earth could sort of, what, balance things out?
That's the thinking, yes. It could help balance our body's electrical state, potentially reducing that oxidative stress.
Wow, okay. So the earth is kind of like a giant free antioxidant source, but electrons instead of berries.
Uh, yeah, you could think of it like that. It's a powerful concept.
And it really highlights our modern situation, doesn't it? Always in shoes, indoors, in cars.
Absolutely. We're living in this state of, well, disconnection.
Mm.
Insulating shoes, buildings high off the ground, vehicles. We're rarely making that direct physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
And this lack of contact prevents that natural electrical discharge and recharge. Some researchers think this might contribute to static buildup, maybe, but maybe more importantly, it could be playing a role in all the stress and anxiety so many people feel. That feeling of being unplugged.
Like a device running low, needing to plug back into the main source.
Exactly. Which, leads us perfectly back to Shavasana.
Yes, because the connection there seems so direct, almost unavoidable when you look at the old texts.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
the Hatha Yoga Pratika, a really key text,
Yeah.
describes Shavasana very simply. Lying down on the ground like a corpse.
On the ground, it's right there. The core element is that contact.
It's fundamental. You're relaxing the whole body back, arms, legs, flat onto the ground, or your mat.
That complete surrender of weight. It feels like the ultimate expression of immediately, in a way.
And modern yoga teachers often pick up on this too. You'll hear them say, Shavasana is for calming the mind and body, releasing stress and grounding the body.
They use the word explicitly grounding.
Yes, it's understood as part of the purpose. And think about the pose itself. You're usually holding it for a decent amount of time, right? 5-10 minutes, maybe more.
Yeah, longer than most poses.
And a large surface area of your body is making contact. So it just naturally creates this extended opportunity for that potential grounding that you process to happen.
Our body has its own electrical field, doesn't it? So maybe it's interacting with the Earth's bigger field.
That's one way to think about it. Our subtle electromagnetic field having a chance to sort of sync up, maybe?
Yeah.
Harmonize with the Earth's energy field.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen Shavasana called the quickest route to grounding the body to the Earth, really emphasizing that connection, maybe even to Earth's magnetism.
Okay, that raises a big question, though. How did ancient yogis figure this out? They didn't have voltmeters or talk about electrons?
Right. They lacked our scientific language,
Yeah.
definitely. But the thinking is they likely understood it intuitively, through experience.
Just by feeling it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ancient yogis, through dedicated practice asana, breathwork, meditation, developed incredible body awareness. They were really sensitive to subtle shifts inside themselves, energy flows, feelings of balance or
So
imbalance.
they would have noticed, hey, when I lie on the ground like this, I feel calmer, more restored.
Precisely. It's highly probable they discovered that connecting with the ground, especially in that deep relaxation of Shavasana, just worked. It brought about calm, restoration. The whole aim of Shavasana is profound tranquility, right? That state might very well arise from finding some kind of harmony with the Earth's energy, even if they described it using different concepts or terms.
And you see this earth connection pop up in other ancient Indian traditions too, don't you? Like Ayurveda?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Ayurveda emphasizes the deep link between human health and the environment, including the earth. Practices like dupana, burning medicinal herbs, or homotherapy, which involves fire rituals,
Right.
you can see those as reflecting a real respect for and an intentional working with what they might have considered earth energy or elemental forces.
It feels like it stems from that really old widespread idea of oneness with nature,
Yeah.
that we're not separate from the world around us.
Exactly. The harmony of heaven, earth, and humanity. They saw us as intrinsically linked. So we can look at their understanding not as like primitive science, but maybe as a kind of experiential
I
science.
like that term.
Through really careful observation and deep introspection, they integrated these complex phenomena, what they felt as ig, or earth energy, into practices like Shavasana long before we had the tools to measure electrons.
Okay, so let's bring in a bit more of the modern science again. We mentioned Earth's magnetism. The Earth is this huge magnet, obviously, with a field that protects us and affects life.
Right, a powerful background force.
So is there a direct link? Are the benefits of grounding or Shavasana coming from us somehow, I don't know, absorbing specific geomagnetic frequencies?
That's where it gets a bit less clear, scientifically speaking. Based on current research, the idea that we are directly absorbing geomagnetism in a therapeutic way just by lying down. Well, the evidence for that specific mechanism is considered pretty weak right now.
Okay, so it's not like we're soaking up magnetic waves.
Probably not in that direct sense, no. The picture seems more nuanced. The earthing or grounding hypothesis focuses mainly on that electron exchange we talked about, direct contact with the Earth's surface charge.
Right, balancing the body's charge, maybe reducing oxidative stress.
Exactly. That seems to be the primary proposed electrical process. Now, geomagnetism, think of that as the bigger context, the stable, pervasive field that everything on Earth exists within.
Okay.
So while grounding is about the surface charge interaction, that very act connects us into the Earth's whole energy system, a system that includes both the surface charge and the magnetic field.
Ah, I see. So it's about tapping into the whole stable system.
Kind of, yeah. It
Yeah.
provides this fundamental sense of stability and order. Maybe think of it like charging your phone. You plug it into the outlet that's like the direct connection, the electron exchange.
Mm-hmm.
But that outlet only works because it's part of the entire stable power grid generating and transmitting electricity. That grid is like the Earth's whole energy system, including the background geomagnetism.
That makes sense. So Shavasana, through grounding, connects us to the Earth's stable system, even if we're not directly using the magnetism itself in a measurable way.
Exactly. And that reconnection, that sense of being plugged back in, is maybe more important now than ever before.
Why more now?
Well, think about modern life. You could almost describe it as a state of constant suspension.
Suspension? How so?
Physically, for starters, we're literally suspended off the Earth most of the time.
Yeah.
Living in high-rises, wearing thick rubber-soled shoes, driving everywhere,
Yeah.
we have so little direct skin-on-ground contact.
True. And mentally, is there a mental suspension too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mentally, spiritually.
Yeah.
We're suspended in this flood of information, endless virtual interactions, this incredibly fast pace. It can create anxiety, feeling being scattered, unmoored, restless, like a kite with its string cut.
Wow, yeah. Just floating adrift. And you think the suspended state could be linked to some common health issues?
There's a compelling argument that it contributes. Things like insomnia, chronic anxiety, that constant low-level fatigue, maybe even weakened immunity.
Yeah.
They seem to thrive in this disconnected, unrooted state.
Which makes Shavasana seem, well, not just a nice relaxation, but almost crucial.
It really elevates its importance, doesn't it? It's this simple, accessible act, just lying down. But it offers a profound way to counteract that modern suspension.
A chance to consciously reconnect.
Yes. In Shavasana, you're guided to feel your body being heavy, sinking, supported by the earth, even if it's through a mat. You focus on that contact. Feel the back of your head connecting, that kind of instruction. You're actively inviting that feeling of being held.
And it's not just a feeling, right? There's that potential physical effect, too.
Exactly. That deep relaxation, the large surface area contact. It might be facilitating that electrical balancing we talked about, maybe helping release excess charge, balance our potential difference with the Earth, like some grounding research suggests.
And presumably, if the body feels more balanced and rooted, the mind settles down too, counteracting the mental suspension.
That's the idea. A rooted body helps anchor a restless mind, which lines up perfectly with what the ancient yogis reported. Shavasana gets rid of fatigue, brings peace, and it aligns with modern findings suggesting grounding can reduce stress markers, improve mood.
Are there specific studies on this?
Yeah, some studies on grounding have shown trends towards stress reduction, looking at things like heart rate variability, respiration. And, WebMD mentions research suggesting that just 10-20 minutes of grounding daily might help with pain reduction.
And Shavasana often falls right into that time frame, 5, 10, 15 minutes.
Exactly. It fits quite well with the duration where some potential benefits are being observed.
This really drives home why making time for Shavasana is so valuable. Not a luxury, maybe more like essential maintenance for modern humans.
Well put.
So for listeners who want to really lean into this grounding aspect in their own Shavasana, what are some practical things they can do?
Good question. A few simple things can enhance that feeling of connection. First, cultivate receptive awareness. Just let go. Don't try to absorb energy or force a connection. Simply trust the earth is there, holding you. Surrender your weight.
Yeah.
Feel the support.
Okay, trust and surrender. Less doing, more allowing.
Exactly. Second, maximize skin contact if you can safely. Outdoors on clean grass or earth is obviously ideal.
If you're lucky enough.
Right. Otherwise, maybe use a mat made from natural materials if possible. The more direct contact, the better the potential for that electron exchange.
Makes sense. What else?
Third, use your breath.
Mhm.
Really consciously. On the exhale, imagine releasing tension, fatigue, any static down into the earth. Let it go.
Mm-hmm.
On the inhale, imagine drawing up fresh, stable, supportive energy from the ground.
Releasing the old, drawing in the new. Nice.
Fourth, visualization can be really helpful for some people. Imagine roots growing down from your body, maybe your spine, tailbone, back of the skull, deep into the earth. Feel that sense of stability, like a tree.
Anchoring yourself.
Yes. And finally, maybe just a moment of gratitude. Before you get up, silently thank the earth for its support, for holding you. That simple acknowledgement can really deepen the feeling of connection.
Those are great, very concrete tips as a whole other layer to the pose.
And look, while the science is still figuring out all the exact mechanisms, how ERE works, the role of geomagnetism, all that definitely needs more robust research.
Right, it's complex.
It is. But the core value here, the benefit of consciously connecting with the earth in Shavasana, that's backed up by so much ancient wisdom, and frankly, by countless people's direct experience of finding peace and centeredness doing it.
So it really shifts Shavasana from just being, passive rest at the end to being this active opportunity to reconnect, recalibrate, find balance with the Earth's energy.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that even living these busy, often disconnected modern lives, our well-being is still fundamentally tied to our connection with nature, with the very ground we live on.
Definitely. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with today is beyond the physical stuff, beyond the potential benefits we've talked about. How might consciously inviting that connection with the Earth's quiet presence, even just for those few minutes in Shavasana, actually shift your perspective, your sense of place in this, well, often chaotic world?
Something to explore.
Something to explore in your next Shavasana. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.